What is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be looking more at the Black Ops Cold War attachments and kind of how they work with their integration into Warzone. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the flinch resistant attachment specifically, and more specifically the SASR jungle grip, which is supposed to improve your aim down sight time and flinch resistance at the con of lowering your sprint to fire time. I hope you guys learned something and enjoyed this video. If you did, please give the video a like and consider subscribing to my channel. Without further ado, let's get into it. So what I'm going to be showing you is kind of how the flinch resistant works on regular Modern Warfare weapons with no attachments, and then I'm going to take a look at like the two assault rifles with the jungle grip, 2 submachine guns with the jungle grip, and 2 sniper rifles with the jungle grip, and then as well as those weapons without the jungle grip, and I'm kind of compare the differences and give you guys like loadout suggestions at the end of the video. So right here we are looking at the M4A1 for Modern Warfare with no attachments, just to see kind of like how the flinch works in Modern Warfare in general. And I am in a private bot lobby, letting the guy shoot me, aiming in. You can see like it kind of bounces, and then we switch to the AK-47, and you're going to see kind of the same bounce right here. I'm trying to shoot him at the same time as he shoots me to see if there's a difference there. Obviously, I didn't pull it off. But let's slow down the clip we got with the M4A1, and you can really see how your screen shakes and exactly how far, how much more like weapon sway you get while you are flinching. So I'm having it slowed down, going frame by frame, because the difference is not obvious. The screen goes red here, we got hit, and you can see that there's a little bit of kind of weapon sway and the screen kind of shakes. This is more of a big deal right here, where you can actually see the screen sort of shaking. I think that's kind of like the biggest difference between having the jungle grip on with it not on. I'm going to show that later, but let's look at more footage. So as we were saying, that the flinch in this game is actually pretty light whenever you're like what I've noticed between like 0 and 30 meters. It's very light, it's very unnoticeable, especially when you're not using an optic that zooms in at all, and you really can't catch those minor differences. So right here, you're going to see the FFAR1 with no attachment, so nothing is going to be helping the flinch resistance. And the main thing here is that the flinch resistance on the assault rifles and the submachine guns is very, very small. Even whenever you're using guns that don't have any sort of attachments that help that. See, like it's very small. You're not really going to notice much. I'm going to slow that clip down to see like how far off the weapon sway glows whenever you get hit. But it's, again, like I said, it's very, very hard to notice. So right here, we're going to slow down that last bit. If you look at my bottom left corner at my health bar, it appears like he shoots me in the head or something. And it does take a bit, like quite a bit of health off. So this is like true, like how much you flinch. You see like right there, like that big red portion that gets taken off. But moving through the clip, my screen gets very red. It looks like the gun deflects slightly to the left, maybe off his body just a little bit. I think this would be a bigger deal if he was moving and I was trying to track his movements and kind of, you know, track the target. And let's move on to the next clip. So right here we are very up close to the target, but this is the AK-47 from Black Ops Cold War with the jungle grip attachment, whereas the previous clip did not have that attachment.
They're lighting me up.
So he shoots me a little bit, but even you can see there that there is almost little to no movement left, right, up, down, or anything, and the screen doesn't shake at all either. Let's slow it down to kind of see those micro movements a little bit more. So right here, you're going to see that he does shoot me. Again, takes off a pretty significant portion of health. So this is a very good example of flinch resistance with these attachments. And as I go through, the screen still gets very red, but my screen doesn't shake really at all. It just kind of flashes red. and that reticle does not move. I'm aiming right at his left shoulder, and my screen does not move at all. So you can see that the flinch resistant grips do work for the assault rifles by, just by this clip here. But we're going to go ahead and let this play out and look at the FFAR1, again with the jungle grip attachment improving the flinch resistance. And I would expect the same thing. Yeah, right there. You saw it real quick, but I'm going to slow it down and we're going to look at like the micro movements again. So again, this is the slowdown clip that we just saw. Screen turns very red, screen doesn't shake at all or anything, and the optic is very steady on that shoulder right there. So you can see again that the flinch resistance, as little as it does, the attachments that do improvement do help it on the assault rifles. I think this would be a lot more important if the target was actually moving, and he was going to be a lot easier to track his movements, especially people that they jump around all the time now where you're shooting. So I think flinch is just one less thing that you would have to worry about when using an assault rifle when you use these attachments, making them, giving them a bit of a buff in this sort of case against the Modern Warfare guns. I still think that the assault rifles have a long improvement needed, mostly just in the recoil control department, whereas the only thing that really helps the recoil control are the grips from Black Ops Cold War. And I think that some of the other attachments like the jungle grip that I just saw, I think that it should also boost its recoil control as well, just to help compete with the very accurate guns from Modern Warfare in Warzone. So I'm going to show you guys kind of what a typical assault rifle loadout should look like, and and after this video, including like the data we've gathered from the flinch resistant grips and everything. So this is the class setup in XM4 that I do use in Warzone, and here are all the attachments I use: agency suppressor, 13.5 inch reinforced barrel, field agent grip, 60 round fast mags, and I do use the SASR jungle grip, and I'm going to keep it that way. With these, in Black Ops Cold War with the assault rifles, I always try to use a muzzle that does a silencer similar to the monolithic suppressor, which the agency suppressor does use. I try to use a long barrel, the field agent grip, 60 round fast mags, and this fifth attachment doesn't matter so much because all of your options aren't very, they don't change the gun a whole lot in my opinion. I normally don't use an optic. I think they're kind of a waste unless the iron sights are very, very bad. I normally use those iron sights on all of my guns. I normally don't use hipfire things for an assault rifle. And all the stock stuff is normally just like movement speed and stuff that, again, really doesn't matter for an assault rifle. So I would recommend using the SASR jungle grip on your assault rifle. So we're going to move on and take a look at the submachine guns now, and then after that, the sniper rifles. So here we are testing a bullfrog with no attachments. So there's no jungle grip, no flinch resistance improvement on this gun.
Well done.
And personally, I think that the gun, the lighter the gun, the less weapon sway and flinch that you're going to see anyway. I'm going to slow it down a little bit just to prove that there is some slight screen shaking and everything. So we're going to go back, and here you can see that my screen's red, and it does kind of, the gun kind of wobbles and shifts a little bit, but not a whole lot. Not a lot of flinch resistance coming out of the submachine guns. So here we have an AK-74U, and it does have the SASR jungle grip attachment. And I'm kind of showing basically like how, like with a moving target, how much easier it is to track your target whenever you don't have to worry about your screen shaking or flinch or anything like that. Any extra weapon sway is not here at all. Basically, I'm waiting for him to shoot me a little bit. It's kind of hard to deal with bots. But you can see like my screen turns red, but my gun doesn't move at all. Here's the bullfrog with the jungle grip attachment as well. I'm getting shot all over the place, but there's not a lot of screen shaking or anything like that. I'm going to slow some of that footage down just so you can see it a little bit easier. So this is a really good example right here. he's moving across my screen, and my screen turned red, but there's no shake, there's no flinch there at all. So had I been trying to really track him, it would have been very easy to do so. So after that, I'm going to show you guys some loadouts for SMGs and kind of like what my goal with loadouts is there, especially with this new jungle grip data that we just collected. So this is my AK-74U class setup that I do use in Warzone. And, you know, similarly, kind of like what I do with the setup is a muzzle that silences the gun, similar to the monolithic suppressor, a barrel that increases the damage range, a undergrip, the spent NAS barrel, which is the same thing as the field agent grip, an extended fast mags, just because in Warzone you're likely going to find 2, 3, probably 4 guys at a time. Everybody just kind of roams together. And with this class, you could make the argument to use the Spetsnaz field grip to get that extra flinch resistance, but as we saw, there's not a lot of flinch resistance on submachine guns, especially kind of very up close. You're likely not going to have your screen shake a lot, and you're not going to have your weapon actually fall off the guy that you're trying to track. So I would recommend going with a steady aim laser actually instead. But if you do want to use the Spetsnaz field grip, I could argue either taking off the fast mags, or pretty much any of these 3 could be interchangeable. And I think it would just kind of come down personal preference. For me, I would rather have a steady aim laser and more ammo in my magazine than I would have like a minor flinch resistance fix. Alright, now we're going to move on to the sniper rifles and see how those behave. So here we have the Pelington sniper from Black Ops Cold War, and this gun does have no attachments, so there's nothing helping its flinch resistance. Here we're aimed in, and looking for him to shoot us. He shoots, and it bumps up a little bit, and let's slow that down. So I think this is something that's going to surprise you guys from the footage that you just saw. It surprised me too the first time I slowed it down. So as we get hit, my screen turns red. You can see how far up your reticle actually bounces because of the flinch. That's very significant. You're definitely going to miss your target if they shoot you while you are aiming down sight. I think this is kind of a big kind of deal. I think it's very good to counter snipers this way. Because of this, whenever I see a glint, I always try to just shoot a few shots at it. One, to kind of make them kind of afraid a little, maybe back off, afraid that they're going to get hit and die. But also, it's going to make them miss. And that's the second one. It goes up the same speed. So now we're going to switch to Tundra with no attachments, and the same thing happens. It doesn't appear like it's going to be like a very big bounce when you slow it down, but whenever you actually do so, it is. So let's just go back real quick to that last bounce, and you can see that it actually went way up here. And it doesn't look like it does that because it does it so quickly. But it does. One thing I do like about the sniper rifle flinch pro sniper that it benefits the snipers is that as you see it flinched and it bounced right back down to your target. So it's not a huge deal. If you're a skilled sniper and you time it right, you are going to be able to take guys down even though they're shooting at you. So moving on, this is going to be the Pelington with the grip that improves the flinch resistance. And in real time, right here, I believe, it does appear to be a bit better, in real time at least. It does seem to be an improvement in my opinion, but whenever you slow it down, it goes way up here. So my opinion on the flinch resistance on sniper rifles, I do think they work, but I don't think that they're worth the attachment. Because like with assault rifles and submachine guns, that small benefit still kept you on target, and it made things easier to track. This does make it a little bit easier maybe, But if you're going to shoot him as you're being hit, like even right here, where it's starting to bounce back down, you're going to miss. So I think that the flinch resistant attachments just aren't worth using on the sniper. And let's take a look at what attachments you should be using on your sniper rifle. So personally, my favorite sniper rifle, I haven't gone through any and done the testing yet, but just kind of what feels good. I like the Tundra, so that's the one that I'm going to show you guys. I use the wrap suppressor, the Tiger Team barrel, a bipod, a reveal distance, kind of designator improver, and the Ultra Zoom Custom. I don't use magazine. I don't think it's necessary. And like we just saw, I don't think applying something that's going to help your flinch resistant benefits you enough to use that as an attachment. So instead of the magazine and the real grip, I'm using a laser and an optic, and there's nothing really to improve here on the stock. So that is how I set up my sniper, and that also concludes this video. I hope you guys learned something. If you did, please give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. I'm posting just about every single day for Warzone, and if you guys don't want to miss out, especially because I am a smaller channel and you want to find your way back to it, I highly recommend that you do subscribe. But as always, I hope you guys all have a great day.